welcome everyone to this IT-OT convergence session. So I'm Florence Benezit, Consulting Director in the Industrial Practice. I was leading the last month's study about IT-OT convergence. It was just released today, so if you find those little booklets, you can take them if you want to learn more about IT-OT convergence. So what is this? I don't know if everyone heard about this convergence. So you all know about IT. IT stands for Information Technology. It covers the world of ERP, PLM, cloud data platforms, all these applications connected by the internet and developed by software developers. By opposition to IT, OT means operational technology. It's all the technology you find in plants and shop floors like controllers, sensors, SCADAs, and more. We don't have software developers in OT more. We have automation engineers, and they don't really work on the internet, but on industrial networks that are quite isolated from the internet for security reasons. IT-OT convergence is the art of bringing these two worlds together. And I'm very happy to have here Youssef, David, and Bérangère, who work on this IT-OT convergence at the respective companies. So can you please tell us why IT-OT convergence is important at your company and where your respective companies stand in this adventure? Maybe Bérangère, do you want to start?
Thank you, Florence, and thank you for the invitation to speak on this topic, interesting one. As you probably know, SUEZ has two main activities. One dealing with water, as also all the industry to treat and to produce and to distribute water, drink water, and the other part is to manage a sewer system. And the other activities is waste, all the industry around waste, to collect it, to incinerate, and to, of course, doing some recycling activity. For both activities, there are lots of operating systems to control and command process in real time and often in remote. For example, we monitor pressure on water network, we monitor flow meters, we monitor the production of biogas, and so on. There are lots of examples. But those are real-time processes. And for more than 15 years, we have been operating OT data to develop decision-making tools, notably to optimize our treatment process in treatment plants, for example, to deal with energy consumption. Or another example is to faster detect leaks on the water network. This use case was the first step for OT and OT convergence because we use data for this use case, and we take data out of the operational system for use it in non-real-time process in IT system. This is where we are today, and this is our first step to develop these new tools. But sharing OT data was limited to developers. What we are now faced with the challenge of sharing this data more widely. We need to share this data with all the level of the company, from operators to manager, from operator teams to financial department, for example. And the last use case is to share this data with our public customers, which are the public water authorities, for example. Why? Because they need accurate information to be able to take the right decision sometimes.
Thank you, Bérangère. Maybe David, can you say a word about where Ariane Group stands?
Good morning, and I'm pleased to be there with you. So yes, Ariane Group is a European space industry, you know, I think, and we are today in a turning point in our industrial story, where the competition between the different space companies are beginning strong and strong. And for that, so we spoke a lot about exploitation of data just before this session. But I think that in order to increase our productivity, which is the key point for Ariane Group today, because we are really we really need to make this ramp-up, industrial ramp-up. We have to make a link, and a strong link, between data collected at shop floor level and data exploited at enterprise level. So this is the purpose of this session. But we are still at the beginning of the story at Ariane Group. And we, after having deployed the manufacturing execution system, which is, I think, the basis of this story, we are currently, and this is really today the case, we are currently connecting machines and equipment in order to get this data and to put this data in a kind of industrial lake. I don't like the word lake, but this industrial zone, area, where we will be able to exploit them. And for what? Collecting this data in order to take the pulse of the industrial life, and then also to develop use cases like predictive maintenance. So just before Forvia talked about that, but also predictive quality in order to be able to stop the line production when the quality of the product diverge. So these are two examples.
Thank you, David. And what about you, Youssef, at Forvia?
So thank you for the opportunity, Florence. Why OT, IT, data convergence? Probably you will be surprised by my answer. For an automotive company, is to be more efficient, to improve quality, to be more agile. So very, very creative reason, right? I like to think also that there's a strategic reason behind that, with the disruption of AI that is also ahead of us with more and more. We are getting ready also to be able to host this kind of technology that will disrupt our value chain. So where we are, I like to put it simply, we have two phases in this convergence. One that we started several years ago with really deployment of connectivity, of I would say simple connectivity, by getting production in real time, what we are producing, allowing us to better control our inventory, track our OE, our efficiency in real time, analyze data, react quickly. So all traditional things. So simple, but deployed today almost in all Forvia. So that's more than 300 sites. The second phase that is more challenging and where maturity depends actually on the technology is about getting a more deep connectivity. So getting the process data, where for some machine we have more than 300 parameters. And here we start to have some success. For example, in injection machine, we are using historical data to be able to optimize a recipe of the machine and then optimize cycle time and quality. Leveraging GenAI, for example, in electronic, we are using GenAI to analyze quickly the error code sent by the machine and send directly in our MES, send information to the production manager and the maintenance manager what he should do really in real time. And these are two use cases that are now deployed within Forvia.
Thank you very much. I think now everyone is convinced that reaching and achieving IT and OT convergence is a strategic advantage for industrial performance. So I see time is running. OT-IT convergence has two big challenges, one technical and another one human. So let's try to talk about both because they're both very important. Can you, Youssef, start telling us about very quickly the key technical challenges to overcome to reach IT-OT convergence?
So obviously, the pure hardware connection is a challenge, especially for us. We have a lot of machines from different technology, different process, different brand, some old machines. So this is definitely a challenge. But I would not say it's the most important. The most important one is about data modeling, about when I have a data, I'm able to understand what it is. I think we are past the period where we just sense data in the cloud and hope to be able to do something with it. So it plays at least for Forvia, at two levels. One at machine level, be able to standardize the modeling of the data that we get in order to, when I get the pressure, I call it the same way anywhere in the company in order to be able to scale. And one at more corporate level, and Caroline spoke about that with the ontology, where we are building relationships between all the data that we have in the OT world and in the IT more corporate world.
Thank you, Youssef. A word about this, Bérangère?
Yes, for us, the big challenge to overcome is data quality. If we want to share data with a large public, we need to be sure that data is clean, accurate, and so on. That's why we launched lots of programs to deal with this topic.
Thank you, Bérangère. And David, I guess at Ariane, you have maybe cybersecurity issues?
Yes, of course. Of course, as Ariane is a kind of sovereign European company, of course we have a lot of technical challenges. But you're right, the first one is to ensure the cybersecurity rules, where these two previous worlds, IT world and OT world, were fully and completely separated and segregated. Cybersecurity is a real challenge for us, and to be sure that the production flow will not be disturbed by the cyber issue or a cyber attack. We need to take into account these different rules to keep these two networks separated, but in the same time to find a way to have a communication between them. And I think that it is really a question of robustness of the company also, because if we have some failure at operational technical level, this failure will raise up at the company.
Yes, thank you, David. Let's now talk about the human challenge in IT-OT convergence. So our study reveals that it's maybe the biggest one. Maybe Bérangère, do you want to start by giving one of these challenges, and do you agree with the statement?
Yes, because as everybody says, we are dealing with two different worlds. From the beginning, so we've got OT operators, we've got IT engineer, and of course this is not the same world. So of course the challenge is overall human. It's a question of process. It's a question of confidence between both teams. And it's a point that we are going to work on at SUEZ, beginning with a small perimeter of data, and in a part of France, to rewrite the process between teams, between operational one and between the one on a different level on the organization, to install a continuity process between the two, just to have one data is the water volume going into the water network every day.
Yes, so for me, that's really one of the most critical topics. I'm quite often surprised by how underestimated it is in some company, including Forvia. We are really speaking about two different cultures. Just to give an example, in IT, we like to speak about MVP, minimal product, and then we improve. In OT, we want a product that works in operational condition, and then we don't want to touch it again. So and there's a lot of dimension where the culture is very different. So for me, if I had an advice, is the biggest asset you can invest in order to tackle this topic is people, and especially empathy. People need to put their shoes put themselves in the shoes of the people that are in front of them, to understand this constraint, their culture, so that they can work together on these cross-functional topics.
Thank you very much for the three of you. So please come and see me if you're interested in the study. We can also send you the document. Thank you.